Hello, good evening to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss classes and objects. To begin with, let us discuss the reason why structure as a data type has evolved. Now, one of the major limitation of an array was capable of holding values of only same type. Now, there was a need of data type that was capable of packaging data of multiple types. So that led to the evolution of data type called user-defined data type called a structure. So a structure is user-defined data type whose composition is defined by the user that is capable of packaging data of multiple types based on the existing fundamental data type or the other derived data types. So now whenever you are trying to declare a structure, so what you need to do is you need to use the struct keyword. You need to use the struct keyword and the structure name, and then what you can do is you can list the number of members inside the structure declaration. So struct name should be an identifier, so you need to remember that the structure name should be an identifier and it has to be preceded with a keyword structure. So for an example here we have declared a structure address where the members are name, street, city, and state, and pin, where the five members are of different type. Four are character array and one of them is integer. Now, once the structure has been declared, what we can do is we can use it to declare variables. So here person 1 and person 2 are two different variables of type address, where address is a structure. Now there's a small note for you. So structure can have simple variable, it can have array, it can have structure, it can have a pointer memory as well. Now here I have written a very simple program that exhibits the property of a structure. So now here we have a structure person, so there are three members of that particular person. So we have name, age, and salary, and I have declared a function display that will take in a variable of type person and it will return void. So in the main function, what I've done is I have declared a variable p, where p is a variable of type person. Okay, so then I have read values into the different sections of p, that is name, age, and salary, using the member access operator, that is dot, or it's called as a dot operator, or it's called as a period sign. So using p dot name, I can have an access to the name of variable p, where p is object or a variable of type structure. So likewise we have p dot array and p dot salary. Now I have the function display being defined as a function that takes in a variable of type person and displays the members of the variable of type person, where person is a structure. So this is a very simple or C++ program that tries to exhibit the behavior of a structure. Now, let us try to identify limitations of structure. Now, one of the major limitations of structure is that structure does not provide any data hiding. So, C structure does not provide any data hiding. So, structure members can be accessed from anywhere within the scope of the structure. So, by default, the members of the structure are public in nature. Now, the second important disadvantage is that function inside a structure. So C structure does not allow for any function inside the structure. Static members. So C structure does not allow for a static member inside the body of the structure. Access modifiers. C programming language does not support any of the access specifiers, so it cannot be used in C structure. Construction creation in a structure. So structure in C does not allow for constructors inside the structure. So this is one of the major. These are the major limitations of structures that we have. So now let us discuss another user-defined data type that's called as a class. Now, as we all know, class is a user-defined data type which holds its own data and member functions, which can be accessed and used by creating instance of a particular class. So, a class is a user-defined data type that is capable of packaging data and a function into a single unit. And what we can do is we can create instances of the class in order to perform operation on the data using the functions. Now the data members are the variables and the member functions are the functions used to manipulate the values of the variables. Now this is very much true. Now here, in case of a class, the data members are nothing but variables, and member functions are nothing but function that manipulates or performs operation on those variables. So together, the data member and the member function defines the property of the object of belonging to a particular class. Now, class is basically an expanded concept of data structure. It contains data member and it also contains member function. So this is a very important statement that has been placed here. So class uh, is an expanded concept of data structure. Like, so they contain data members as well as they contain member function. So whenever you're trying to declare a class, what you need to do is you need to ensure that the class name is a valid identifier. Okay, so the class name should be a valid identifier, and the body of the class contains members and member data members and member functions, which is specified under a given access specifier. So you can have public access specifier or private access specifier or protected access specifier associated with the data member and the member function. So this is very much important for one to understand. So whenever you're trying to declare a class, the class name should be an identifier, and you can have in the declaration you can have data members and you can have member functions, where what we can do is we can associate access specifiers like public, private, and protected with the members, data member, as well as the member functions. Now, by default, you need to remember by default, the access specifier of the members in a particular class is always private. Okay, so by default, the access specifier of the members of the class will be private. If we specify explicitly the access specifiers, then the respective access specifier is taken into consideration. Now, as I've said, so what we have is we have three labels of security, or we have three access specifiers, right? This provides access right to the members. So we have public, private, and protected. So private members of the class, you see, private members of the class are accessible only from within other members of the same class, or from the friends. So private members of a class are accessible from only within other members of that particular class or friends. So this we will try to understand with the help of the example in later point in time. Now, protected members are accessible from other members of the same class or from the members of the derived class. So protected members can be accessed by the members of the same class or the members of the derived class. Public members are accessible from anywhere where the object is visible. Okay, where the object is visible. So these are the three access specifiers that is associated with the members of the class. So you can have either private member, or you can have a public member, or you can have protected member. Private member of a class is accessible only to the member of the class or to the set of friendly members. Protected members are accessible to the members of the class and the members of the derived classes. And finally, public members are accessible from anywhere within the scope of the object. Now, by default, all the members of the class declared within the class keyword has private access specifiers associated with it. As I've already said, by default, the access specifier associated with the class will be with the members of the class will be private. So with the different access specifiers, we'll try to understand with the help of the example in the upcoming classes. So now, how to declare a class? So in order to declare a class, we'll use the keyword class. We have class name. We'll have optional access specifier, which can be public, private, and protected. And we have the member list. Okay, and we have the data members, and we have the member functions. Now, it is always said whenever we are trying to declare a class, the data member should be kept as private and the member function should be kept as public, so that the member function can act as the interface between the program and the object, and it should act as only it has which it should only act as an interface between the data members and the program. So that's the reason why the normal convention is that the data member is kept as private and the member functions are kept as public. Now here what we have is we have a very simple example where we have a class person. There are a set of data members, name, age, and salary, and we have a function publicly placed, that is display. So here we have a very simple example of a class. So here we have a class integer width, so where the members are integer width and height, and we have function uh, set values that will take in integer value. And as you see here, so we have a class rectangle, right? And here we have the data values as width and height, and we have function set value and area being placed in the public section of the class, where set value takes into integer values and area returns the product of width and height. Okay, it returns the product of width and height, so the return type of area is integer. So here just see, area is a function that is defined inside the class, whereas set value will be the function that will be defined outside the class, right? Okay, so just see here, integer area, this particular function is defined inside the class. The definition is that it returns the product of width and height, and set value is a function that takes in into integer parameters and it returns void, but it's defined outside the class. Now just see, whenever the function is defined outside the class, what do we do is we use the return, we write the return type, we write the class name, we use the scope resolution operator, and we specify the function name. So this we have already learned in the previous class. So whenever we are defining a function outside the class, we need to use scope resolution operator in order to depict the class to which the function belongs to. So here integer x and integer y. So there are two parameters. So here x is assigned to width and y is assigned to height, because width and height are the parameters of the class. So whatever x is provided with, it is assigned to width, and whatever y is provided to width, it is assigned to h, right? Okay, now I have my main function, so void main, so rectangle, so we have one of the variable, one of the object as rect and one of the object as rect b, right? Okay, now rect set value, so whenever I use the object rect set value, so it will refer to the set value function belonging to object rect. So the way the values are 3 and 4, so 3 and 4 will get copied to x and y. So 3 and 4 will be initialized to width and height. Okay, likewise rect b set value 5 and 6, so it will call the function set value belonging to object rect b. Okay, and then 5 will be initialized to x and 6 will be initialized to y. So now see out rect area, rect dot area, so rectangle rect area, so it will invoke the function area belonging to object rect, so it will be product of 3 into 4, this will be 12, and in the second case it will determine the area of rect b by so where we are invoking function, when where we are calling function area belonging to object rectb, right? Okay, so whenever this will be executed, 5 and 6 will be initialized to width and height. So 5 into 6 is 30, so it will print area as 30. So note, by default the members of the class is private. Okay, so in today's class what we've learned about is, we have learned about what is structure, we learned about what led to the evolution of structure, we learned about the syntax for structure declaration, we've learned about how to declare structure variable, we've learned about how to use structure for manipulating data, we've learned about the limitations of structure, we've learned about class, we've learned about what led to the evolution of a class, we've learned about the various properties of the class, we've learned about the importance of the data member and the member functions. Okay, so we have learned about the access specifiers that may be associated with the members of the class. We have learned about what is private, what is public, and what is protected access specifier. And we have learned about how to declare a class. We have learned about how to declare objects of the class, and we have tried to understand class with the help of an example where we are trying to determine the area of a rectangle using the object. So in the next class, we'll be learning about the access specifiers. Thank you very much.